Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Megan. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe down below. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to deal with roommate conflict and basically just how to have a good roommate experience your freshman year of college. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the video. Okay, so first things first, how do you find a roommate? So there's several ways that you can go about doing this. If you are from out of state, it's going to be a little bit more difficult just because you're less likely to have people that you go to school with or that you already know going to college with you. But that's an easy fix because a lot of colleges have Facebook pages and Instagram pages created for your class specifically that you can go and find other people who are in your same class, and they will have little biographies about themselves to give you some information. And then you can usually get their phone number or Snapchat through there, and then you can chat with them. Some important things to talk to people about before you agree to be roommates is kind of like sleep schedules, your cleanliness, messiness, class schedules, interests, the temperatures that you like your room to be set on. You don't want to be someone who gets cold a lot and likes a hot temperature rooming with someone who's burning up all the time and wants it really cold, because that's just asking for conflict to happen. You also maybe want to ask about their involvement, if they're rushing a sorority, if they plan to join a club, what major they're in, that kind of thing, because the more you have in common with your roommate, the more likely you guys are to have a positive roommate experience. Another big important thing is how to get close to your roommate. Specifically, these are some things that you can do before you move into college to ensure that it's not as awkward when you do move in, that you're not living with a complete stranger. Some really easy ones is just to get their phone number or Snapchat and talk to them pretty often. This can be about your life, things you're doing, or if it's about like your decorations, how you're going to decorate your dorm. It will help you to have more of a cohesive decoration style if you guys talk a lot. Getting on FaceTime is also a great idea because you guys get to talk face to face and it's less texting, so that makes the awkwardness when you move in a little bit less. Also, when you're talking with your roommate before move-in, don't forget to talk about who's going to buy what shared things that you guys are going to use. For example, if your college does not provide a microwave and fridge in your dorm, that would be something you need to discuss. Maybe one person's buying one thing and the other is buying the other thing, or like rugs, bathroom supplies, like things to clean, anything like that, kitchen things if you have an apartment. Those are things to discuss beforehand so that you know who needs to buy what items. Also, just a pre-warning, don't expect your rooms to match perfectly because you guys are going to have different styles. So feel free to express yourself through your own dorm room, but don't expect your roommate's side of the room or their bedroom, depending on what kind of housing you are in, to perfectly match yours. You guys can try to have a cohesive theme, but they're not going to match. You guys are not going to necessarily buy the same comforter and pillows and things like that for your bed. If you decide that you want to, that's great, but don't expect your roommate to want to do that. The next thing is how to avoid some move-in day, early days of living together awkwardness. The main thing I said before is to be talking to them, have an open line of communication. You should definitely try to start this before you move in. It definitely helps a lot. But once you get there, just be open and talk to them, make an effort to, hang out some. Also, if you move in before them, because most of the time you guys won't move in at the exact same time, if you move in before them, you're the roommate that's there first, offer to help with their move-in experience if they want help, and if they do not want help, tell them that you will leave the room so they have some space to themselves to get settled in, and then do whatever they ask you to do. Okay, so you definitely need to establish communication early on and just make a friendship there, because if there's conflict down the road, and there will be conflict, it's not necessarily going to be something huge, but you guys will do things that annoy each other. It's just going to happen. You guys were raised completely differently most likely, so you're going to run into things that you bump heads about. So if you open this communication early and it's on a friendly basis, talking about conflict later on will not be nearly as awkward or uncomfortable for either one of you. Another thing with communication is making sure that you set your boundaries on what you are comfortable with from the beginning. So this can be anything from sharing food, sharing clothes, what items you guys are open to sharing. Say you get a coffee maker, if you're open to sharing that. Different things that you have and you bought that you're okay with them using. I would usually just say, if you want to share items, just make sure that you ask each other before you do, because even if you're okay with sharing clothes or sharing food, it might bother you if they wear the shirt that you are planning on wearing the next day, or use some of the food that you wanted to eat tomorrow. So if they ask you ahead of time, it's avoiding that, and you just have to be okay with saying no if you're not okay with it. And again, having that open communication makes that a lot less of a issue and makes it more comfortable to do so. And again, if you're asking to use their stuff and use their clothes, they are a lot more likely to ask you in return, because they're going to reciprocate the same thing. So it just avoids conflict all the way around. The next thing is how to talk about conflict when it arises. So you definitely do not want to avoid talking about an issue. Say, for example, your roommate is leaving dishes in the sink 4 days at a time and you really don't like that. You need to tell them the first or second time, maybe third time that it happens, because if you let it go for an entire semester and then you start talking about it at the end of the semester or the beginning of the next semester, they're going to be like, I've been doing that since we moved in, like, why is it bothering you? But if you talk about it earlier, in your roommate situation, it will be something that they're much more open to adjusting, and it will just probably make it a lot easier to cope with. But another thing is just to be considerate and compromise with your roommate. So don't expect them to have, say for example, the dishes situation. If they don't like to clean their dishes very often, don't expect them to clean them multiple times a day. But if you could, say, get them to clean their dishes at the end of every day to keep the sink from getting overfilled, that would be a good compromise for you guys to have. Or say they are waking you up because they're playing music too loud too late, like you're trying to go to sleep. Compromise with them with, like, say a time that you like to go to sleep, and then be like, can you just wear headphones after that time? Another thing that I get questions about pretty frequently with people asking about college situations with roommates is your sleep schedule. Like, say one person likes to go to bed early and wake up early, and the other one likes to do both of those things late. It is a little bit difficult to adjust to if you guys are living in a situation without separate bedrooms. The University of Kentucky, most dorms have separated bedrooms, which helps a lot. But if you are in a situation where you are in room, like just one big room with 2 beds in it, basically, if you are the one who wakes up early, be considerate, get ready, and then leave the room and turn the lights off. Try to keep the light and sound to a minimum when you are getting up. And if you are the person who is coming in late and going to sleep, try to come in quietly, keep the lights turned off, don't make any noise if you can, and go to bed quietly to be considerate to your roommate. And if one of the roommates is being too loud or turning on too much light at a certain time of the day, don't ask them to go to bed earlier or go to bed later or wake up later earlier. Just ask them to be quieter, keep the lights off, that kind of thing. It's much easier to get someone to agree to something when you're asking them to change how they do something instead of what they are doing. One of the things, again, that I get questions about is how to deal with a roommate who is messy, or if you're not clean and your roommate wants you to be very clean. Basically, you guys just need to set some standards for your room before you guys really start living together, and try to keep to them. Dorms are really easy for them to get messy because it's a lot of things happening in such a small space, like it's your living quarters. So it is easy to get messy, but just keeping the things that are messy to your side of the room and cleaning them pretty frequently is a good way to avoid the conflict. Don't put any of your mess on your roommate's side of the room. That's really going to make them upset, especially if they are a clean type of person. And then just kind of be respectful, keep the room as clean as you can, but again, they shouldn't expect you to have a perfectly clean room all the time. You guys are going to be stressed out with classes, and that's okay to be messy every once in a while. Another thing I feel like people are worried about a lot, especially if you are living in a situation where you don't have separate bedrooms, is having personal space and time to yourself. So this is actually something that I struggled with a little bit whenever I went to Craft, which is an academy for early college, and you live basically in spaces that are bedroomed, so it's like just a big open space. So the way that you can avoid this type of thing is to know each other's class schedules. So if your roommate is in class and you are not, that gives you an opportunity to have some alone time in your dorm space without your roommate being there. Also, you guys can turn on your location services for each other so you can see when one person is in the room or not, and that way if you want some alone time, you can check, see if your roommate is in the room. If they're not, you have access to be alone in the room. Also, if you need alone time because say you're taking like a test online or something, letting your roommate know ahead of time, like a couple of days ahead of time, is going to get much more cooperation from them and being willing to be out of the room rather than asking them 5 minutes before your test starts, hey, can you leave? I have to take a test. They're going to be a lot more cooperative if you let them know ahead of time. They can schedule out their day around it, and it's just going to avoid a lot of conflict. And just one more note about conflict with your roommate. Not everything is going to be solved perfectly. You're not going to agree on everything. That is perfectly normal. It is about being able to compromise enough that you can survive living together and hopefully have an enjoyable experience. And yeah, you guys are not going to be perfect all the time. So just have some tolerance for things that might not necessarily be the way you would do something, but just realize they were raised not the same as you. Everyone's going to do things a little bit different, and if it bothers you, just try to keep that in your mind. Like, they're probably bothered by things that you do as well, so just be considerate and tolerant of each other. I hope that this helped you guys with any worries or concerns that you had about moving in with your college roommate. Make sure you open that line of communication early so you guys can chat about all of your boundaries and how you're going to decorate your dorm and just get to know each other. I know that college is a sometimes scary but very, very exciting time for a lot of people, and I'm very excited to go back. I'm a junior this year, so I'm really happy to be going back to school since everything was kind of different last year. I'm so excited that we're going back to in-person classes, and I hope that you guys all have a great roommate experience and move-in process for college. And if you have any questions about the move-in process or living with a roommate, feel free to DM me on my Instagram. My name is right here if you guys want to follow me for more information, or you can leave a comment down below. I'm just more likely to respond quicker to a DM on Instagram. If you guys have questions that are time sensitive, that's a good place to ask them. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you have something you can take away from this video to make your roommate experience more positive. If you like this kind of content and want more college content, feel free to hit the like button and also click subscribe so you can see more of this college content from me. I have a lot more coming, anywhere from things like back to school supply hauls, apartment shopping, what you need to bring to your college dorm or apartment, what clothes you should and shouldn't bring. All of these are things that are coming in the next couple of months, and I'm very, very excited to bring this content to you guys. So if you would, please hit subscribe down below so you won't miss out on any of those. I'm also hosting a giveaway once I hit 1,000 subscribers, so you don't want to miss out on that. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, guys.